Angus Gordon, welcome to Reanimates.
Hello, thank you for having me.
I was going to apologise for making you watch this, but then you seem to enjoy it in some sinister way.
It's not a good film. It's a very bad film.
Okay, yes.
But there's interesting. I think we can find interesting things to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wasn't just angry watching it, you know.
Look, I wasn't angry. This film did not elicit enough emotion out of me to register on any real level.
Yeah.
Mostly, what I would say is I was slightly contemptuously bored. Is how I would describe it.
There are definitely some boring bits. It's definitely like late into a franchise where they've totally just run out of ideas or care. I feels like a movie that is destined for straight to DVD.
I believe it was, yes.
Yeah.
Like on IMDb, it is listed as video, which is usually, I think, what a straight to DVD or straight to video movie comes up as. In case it's not clear from the title, I guess. We're talking today about Beethoven's Treasure Tale. And that's tail spelled T-A-I-L.
Got him.
Because it's like...
Yeah, because a dog.
Because it's like a dog, of course. It's also, for some reason, on IMDb, it's listed as Beethoven's Treasure. I'm not sure why. This is from 2014.
It doesn't seem that long ago either.
No, but it's also like... It doesn't sit in any particular era for me. It just has nothing tying it to anything floating.
It's definitely like a script AI could write now.
Yes.
Like, it's so by the numbers. But there's even a bit at the beginning where they have to explain that there isn't cell phone service in this town.
Yeah.
Because obviously he would just leave. Like, a normal person would just call something and you just get this sorted. It's one of those things where it's like when you watch an old Seinfeld episode and you're like, well, you couldn't do it. You just call. You have a phone now. You just text each other.
Yeah.
They have to kind of make a reason why you can't just text in 2014 to figure this problem out.
Yeah, there's always got to be some reason. I mean, if this was a horror movie, it would make more sense. Like, oh, there's no cell service because we're in the middle of the woods. But this is set in a seaside town.
Which is a tourist place, which you think would have to have good cell service.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
For the tourists, because that's what they want.
So it was written and directed by Ron Oliver, who's done mostly TV movies and TV shows. He also wrote Prom Night 2, if that tickles any of you horror fans. Under his information on IMDb, his nickname is listed as Big Daddy. Did he give himself that nickname?
Maybe. Maybe he's like a B-movie sort of Weinstein figure, because I think we'll get into it. I feel there's this weird undercurrent, like a very sinister undercurrent in this film for a children's movie.
Okay.
There's weird, creepy stuff going on.
Okay, you're going to have to explain, because I didn't get that, but,
Okay.
I'm keen to hear your hypotheses.
Yeah.
Because obviously we all remember Beethoven from the, mid-90s, early 90s, starring the wonderful Charles Grodin. It did become a franchise. For some reason, I thought there was like 1 million of these films. There's actually only 8. This is like the 7th, I think, in the 8. It just, I feel like I just used to see heaps of those like straight-to-video Beethoven movies at the video shop. But yeah, apparently there's actually not that many of them.
I mean, yeah. I feel like if there's one more after this, it's like, there really doesn't need to be.
Beethoven's retirement.
Yeah, it's like, clearly the dog has got to be dying. Like, if you've done so many, it's a big dog. He's got to be getting old.
Well, I haven't seen the other Beethoven movies after the first one. Am I meant to believe this is the same Beethoven from Charles Grodin, or is this like son of Beethoven or something?
I don't know if it's I've never seen another Beethoven film.
Oh.
But then I looked at the Wikipedia. This one only has like a paragraph.
Of course.
On the Beethoven Wikipedia. But it seems like there was like a family that the dog was part of in the first film. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, Charles Grodin's family.
Is this the same guy?
No.
So he's a different guy. So how did the dog has ended up with a different guy?
Yeah.
But this guy had a son that's gone to college, which is part of... So it's a different family.
It's a whole totally different family. There is nothing tying this to the original film.
Does this undercut the original film then? Because it seems like the point of the original film is like, this is a difficult dog, right? But we come to learn to love his eccentricities. But now he's with a man who kind of exploits Beethoven to make feature films. What
I'm choosing to believe is...
They died in a car crash.
This is all a dream.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think the second Beethoven movie is called Beethoven Second, which I think is where he has puppies. So what I think is every subsequent Beethoven movie is a puppy of the previous
it's a
Beethoven, and they're all called Beethoven.
are the Beethovens like it's like a reincarnation spiritual thing as well, where it's the same dog soul, or
Yes.
is okay.
Yeah, it's transferred into the next puppy.
It's kind of the same way it works with the Dalai Lama. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's the same. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes
or
sense.
whoever is leading
Well,
Scientology.
in a way, Beethoven is a kind of like I wondered if he's supposed to be like a malevolent sort of trickster god.
Loki.
Yeah,
kind of
he's
thing,
kind of because he brings destruction, but then he seemingly
Yeah.
is it like just coincidence that he uncovers things, or is Beethoven supposed to know certain things? 'Cause-
I think that Beethoven has greater knowledge than he reveals.
yeah,
Yeah.
but then that makes Beethoven slightly sinister because then you're like he knows not to be destroying everything in his way. He chooses to for his own amusement. But then he reveals, like, he takes over the bad guys as well.
Yeah.
But he's still a sort of like a positive, destructive figure.
Yeah, he's chaotic good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that the things that he destroys are all those of not great people, you know.
But sometimes they're just people in the way. They're just people having, like, a restaurant meal.
Well, that's
And he just, like, kind of just tramples through their stuff.
Well, that's
like,
just-
it's not too
that's-
bad. It's not
that's
a bad
cheeky,
thing. It's
yeah.
cheeky. It's cheeky bad.
Yeah.
It's not like the worst thing in the world to do, but it's like those people didn't do anything. They were just trying to eat out.
Yeah, but he's like, you know what? I got stuff to do. He's a hedonist, is what he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. We open actually on a fancy casino, where our friend Beethoven is crawling under lasers and using his little paws to press buttons on an alarm. I love in a film where there is an animal where they try to make it look like the animal is doing like something dexterous with their hands, and they have to obviously use a fake animal hand.
Yeah, and then just cut sometimes as well.
Yeah.
Because, like, they cut to where, how did he get the necklace on his head?
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, dog reasons.
Yeah,
somehow.
he did it somehow.
Yeah.
Very Spy Kids.
Well, yeah, so this turns out to be a film that is being made on a set. Beethoven is now a Hollywood star. There's also a cover of Secret Agent Man in this scene, but it's about a dog. It's very funny. It sounds like this. So as we said, Beethoven is like a Hollywood star now. There's like a whole movie being made around a dog. I think it's called like Spy Dog or something.
Spy Dog.
We meet Beethoven's trainer/owner called Eddie, who's played by Jonathan Silverman, who, if we're going to link it back to Jeffrey Combs as we always do, was the lead in The Single Man, which I covered a long time ago, in which Jeff had a one-off role.
I was going to say, you know how there's like the reveal that this is like they're on a set and it's in a movie?
Yes.
And often in like a kind of good movie when they do this, like the acting that you've seen that was quite hokey and bad. Well, now the actors are quite naturalistic and they're good acting. It's like good acting.
Yeah.
But the acting goes from hokey and bad to still hokey and bad.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
So you're like, well, I still feel like we're definitely in a bad movie. Like I don't.
Yeah.
There seems no distinction between like how crazy and dumb this like parody film is versus like now the film we're watching.
Well, yeah, because in the film, it's like they do like Secret Agent Dog. I think that when the dog is wearing the necklace that he's trying to steal, the guy who owns the necklace says, "That's my MacGuffin," and it's like, "Oh, haha, that's an intentionally silly bit." But then the rest of the film is just like that.
Yeah, it's the same tone.
Yeah,
Are they not making? They're making like is that supposed to be in their universe like a naturalistic spy film?
yeah.
Like that's not supposed to be a James Bond parody. It's more like Tinker Tailor Soldier Dog.
Oh yeah, it's that is a hard-hitting like Soviet-era spy drama in their universe. Also in this universe is Morgan Fairchild. She's the film's director. She only pops up briefly, but you know,
Is she the director? I think she's the producer, right?
producer makes more sense because she's doing all the deals. Yep. I mean, it doesn't
It
really matter.
doesn't matter.
'Cause
She's an industry bigwig. Yeah.
she's making decisions on behalf of the film, and we also get Colin Mockery as Beethoven's vet, who diagnoses Beethoven with depression or a lack of joie de vivre.
Because he won't make the jump in the film. He won't do this stunt.
Yeah.
That's why. So the film has to go like they have to stop production because Beethoven can't perform anymore. The Eddie character, he seems very self-interested, very self-motivated. I feel like if this wasn't a children's film, he would just start abusing the dog
Well,
to
yeah.
make him jump. He would be like getting out like a hot poker or some sort of cattle prod and just be like, "I'll just prod him."
Yeah, and then he would eventually get his comeuppance instead of like saving the day in the end, which
Yeah.
he does. Eddie and Beethoven get fired from the picture. The way Morgan Fairchild says this was really funny when she's trying to, like, get them off the set.
Eddie, don't worry. I've arranged for a car.
Because he's worried that he can't afford to fly from wherever this set is, the location.
Yeah.
Because they're not in Hollywood. They're somewhere on location.
Well, I think it's meant to imply that it is California, but I also don't know where it is exactly they end up or where they live, like where they're actually going.
Well, that's going to be part of the thing, was they go to a place which is a pirate. It was settled by a pirate,
Well, it's
right?
a seaside town, so
Yeah.
they end up in O'Malley's Cove. There's a
surely that's going to be
contrivance.
on the East Coast if, like, a British pirate in the 17th century founded it.
Yes,
Don't you think?
yeah, I guess so. I was trying to think of, like, where would this be?
Because all those Caribbean, like, all that British pirate stuff was on the Caribbean side.
Where's Martha's Vineyard?
That's, like, north of New York, isn't it?
Like where Jaws is.
Yeah, I think so. It's like, I think that's like a East Coast thing.
Yeah,
it has
okay.
to be East Coast.
So all that stuff is East
So it
Coast.
must be on the other side of the... Doesn't make sense. I don't think you need to look into it.
Yeah. It also doesn't matter because the point is there's a series of contrivances in which Eddie and Beethoven get stuck in this place called O'Malley's Cove, a sweet little seaside town that I'm sure will welcome Eddie's big Hollywood ways with open arms. I did also, when I was making my notes for this, I did also accidentally write Holly Wolf, which I think...
They missed out on that.
They missed a trick in making that joke somewhere.
I want to stress as well, though, in the contrivances, Eddie comes across as a total prick. He loses control of the rental car and crashes it, which he kind of blames Beethoven on. But surely, you've had this dog for a while. Like, you need to be able to drive your car. He crashes the car. He takes it to the mechanic. The mechanic in town says, like, I can't fix it. Eddie's like, can you show me to a mechanic who can fix it? Like, immediately he's so patronizing and rude to the guy who's the only person that can help him.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, I can fix cars. We just got to order the part. And he's like, how long is that going to take? He's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And there's no cell phone service, so you have to stay here in O'Malley's Cove. Yeah. And you're like, I hate this Eddie guy.
I don't want to stay here. Me.
I've got to get back to Hollywood. You're like, this Eddie guy sucks.
He does suck. Well, I mean, I guess that we just have to consider Eddie as just a vessel for Beethoven. Like, because Beethoven's all we want.
Sure.
We just want the dog. We meet our love interest pretty quickly. She's the tour guide for the local nautical museum. She tells us a little bit about what will be the driving plot, which is the idea of O'Malley's buried treasure, which is like a local legend. So this is Anne, played by Christy Swanson. If the name sounds familiar, it's because she was the original Buffy Summers back in 1992 in the original Buffy movie. She was also in something called Obamagate the Movie, which, quote, exposes the deep state plot to undermine the Trump candidacy and presidency, and it reveals the lies behind the fake Russia collusion narrative.
Wow.
It has 4 cast members and also stars Dean Cain. Make of that what you will. You know what? You know a movie is good when it has its web address on the poster. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It looks bad.
Yeah. Find us at www.
Yeah. Beethoven'sTreasureTrail.org.
And it's also just HTTP. Like they've just like copied and pasted.
Yeah. It's got all these weird numbers at the end.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to use like Bitly.
Well, immediately it's also weird. She's in this massive museum. For the whole movie, she's sort of dressed like she's in the Navy.
Yes, well, nautical museum.
Yeah,
that
but
makes sense. Yeah.
But there's no one in the museum.
No
but
one
then
goes there.
There's the town. They're like, the town's struggling. But the town actually has quite a lot of people in it.
Yeah.
All the scenes outside the town seems to be doing quite well as a tourist attraction or tourist sort of seaside town.
Yeah.
Even though they claim constantly that it's struggling, like the outdoor dining seems to be like packed.
Maybe
the museum just fucking sucks.
Yeah. It's like no one gives a shit about nautical shit. But there's also like there's a scene where she says, the fishing's dried up, and so the town's broke. And then there's a bit later where Eddie falls into this like tray of fish that is an obscene amount of fish.
Yep.
And I'm like, so this one fisherman's okay.
Well, and they set that up for a mackerels joke because he falls into a big thing of mackerel and he goes, "Oh, mackerels."
No, he goes, holy mackerel.
Yeah, holy mac. And it's like, yeah, but the guy's caught so many fish.
Yeah.
He couldn't have more fish.
No, that's a lot. That's enough that you could probably you'd be okay. Maybe mackerel's a really cheap fish. I don't know. Maybe you can't get much for mackerel.
But you think that they're getting big catches.
Yeah.
They just undermine themselves for that joke.
They know where the fish are.
Yeah.
The mechanic is also called Davy Jones's Garage, which I think is kind of funny. Like,
that was a cute
seaside town. The mechanic is also wearing a Hawaiian shirt over his boiler suit, which I hated. I don't know why that annoyed me. One or the other. Beethoven keeps getting these like spidey senses. Like he'll look up for something and there'll be like a sting. Like Beethoven was actually spidey sensing a child that was hanging precariously off a cliff face nearby. maybe that's part of his sort of like the spiritual sense of Beethoven, is that he also can psychically connect to others.
Yeah, he can kind of sort of move through the astral plane. He understands the child's in danger.
Yeah.
And they have to like run through the whole town, knock everything in the town over.
Yep.
They get to the cliff, which is like, there's all these signs being like, this is private property, don't enter.
Yeah.
The kid's hanging off the edge of the cliff in a way that doesn't seem dangerous at all. The kid really... It seems actually like fine. Also, like, how did the kid get... Like, how did he slip to get there? It's not explained. It doesn't seem obvious how you would slip that way.
Yeah, because it's how would you slip front first?
Yeah. Or has he climbed up from the bottom?
Yeah.
And he just can't do this last bit, which seems like he's like half his body's over the...
Yeah, because he does seem
cliff.
to be like standing on a bit of the cliff that's fine, but then it keeps like breaking.
Look,
I don't want the kid to die.
Of course, but you want it to be safe for the child actor. But they've also done it in a way that looks like this kid really should just get up.
Yeah.
Like, part of me is like, this kid just is hanging off a cliff for attention. Like, he's fine.
Well, single mom, only child.
He's lonely.
So everyone's connected in this small town. So basically, Beethoven saves the boy. Sam is the kid who is the daughter of Anne, who runs the museum. But more importantly, we meet Jeff. Yay! He's playing Fritz Bruckschnauzer, who is, of course, our villain. Because if you're going to have a German in a kid's film, he's going to be the villain, obviously. He's like classic family movie villain. He wants to buy the little town. He already owns this little patch of land that the characters are currently on. And he wants to like expand and make it Fritz Town or whatever the fuck. Yeah, he's obviously having fun with it. Here's a little bit of him.
Guten Tag, my friends. Why are we all here?
Very sorry, Mr. Bruckschnauzer. Sam, I want you to apologize to Mr. Bruckschnauzer right now for coming in here.
No need for apologies. No doubt the boy did not even see the fence. Oh, the big sign, big letters. Keep out. Yeah?
You know how kids are.
No, I don't.
I mean, a villain in a kid's movie is a very good role for Jeff Combs, though. Big, silly, camp. He's having fun.
He's got like a gay henchman who drives him around.
Did you think he was gay?
I thought that was gay. I think it was like a very like Disney kind of the gay guy. The villains are gay sort of thing. Like very camp.
Well, the villain is camp.
But like the henchman, it was like a Smithers kind of character.
Very simpering, yes.
Yeah, simpering, kind of in love with the bad guy, likes to be bossed around by him.
Does whatever he says, yeah.
And then at the end, they're going to do like, they kind of kidnap a kid and take him on a boat.
Well, you know.
It's very, it's like an Epstein Island kind of thing.
Well, I mean, they are evil, but they're not
evil.
like realistically evil.
Well, yeah, they should have kicked him off the boat straight away, but they took him. What are they going to do with the kid? You know,
yeah,
they're going to murder him or something. It's awful.
Eddie happens upon the only place he can stay for the night, which is an Airbnb, which is run by Mrs. O'Malley, whose name I've forgotten. She's a cranky old lady. She also happens to be Anne's mum and Sam's grandmother.
And there's a no pet policy.
There is a no pet policy, which is very inelegantly showed to the audience by literally as Eddie is approaching the Airbnb, she is evicting a magician from the B&B because he had a rabbit in a hat.
And then obviously, you know, we learn that she is the descendant of the pirate that founded
the town, the Pirate O'Malley, yes.
But she has some sort of like pretensions to grandeur and won't admit that he was a pirate.
Yeah, she seems to have this delusion about her lineage where she thinks that he was like a gentleman explorer when, you know, we see like the real story as the audience.
That he's like, you know, it's still for children, but you get the impression, yes, he's a horrible murderer.
Yeah.
Disgust. And there's one scene where like he gets mutineered by his own crew.
Yes.
And they're trying to stab him, and they stab the rum barrel accidentally.
Yes. They're all guzzling rum out of a wooden barrel.
Yeah.
Which looks fun.
That does look fun, and that's a kind of funny, silly scene.
Picture in your mind cartoon pirates. That's what's happening in this scene.
Yeah.
They make him walk the plank. I think he burns a treasure map. He says, if I can't have the treasure, no one else can. And then they turf him from the boat and leave him on the beach to die, which is what becomes O'Malley's Cove. We've already established the pirate O'Malley was not a good guy.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the film, there's this weird undertone that like he's like a hero, especially in the last scene. It completely undermines all of that.
That's why I think that the sinister thing about O'Malley's Cove is founded by this horrible murderous pirate. How does he even have a lineage? This guy is awful. If anything, the true inheritor of the pirate's treasure is the new evil guy. Because he's also has the audacity to steal.
And
O'Malley is a robber villain. He's a
Yeah.
bad guy. This is a place founded by evil.
So after some tragic backstory stuff about the town, we cut back to Brooke Schnauzer. Fritz is what I'm going to call him. Dressed as a pirate, preparing to give a speech to like the dumb townspeople about how good it'll be when he buys up the town. And he's got like a little fake bird on his shoulder because this town is obviously incredibly small. Eddie and Beethoven and Fritz and his underling end up at the mechanics at the same time, and Beethoven goes for Fritz's parrot. Ends up in the back of his car, they drive away. And what's even funnier in this scene, though, is that Eddie thinks that Beethoven's being stolen, so he has to borrow a girl's, like, girly pink bike to chase them. Ah, that's so embarrassing, though.
For a fully grown man, it is humiliating.
Yeah. But you know what, though? The bike isn't that small. He doesn't look that big
No.
on it. Like, it actually looks like it's kind of, like, fine for him. I'm like, how gigantic is this little girl?
There's a giant little girl that we haven't met yet. That I'd love to hear. What's her story like in this small town?
Well, it can't be the girl, because he goes up to a girl, he says, "Can I borrow your bike?" He gives her $20. She doesn't say anything. But it's like, that's not her bike.
Yeah, she's just like, don't say anything, just take the money.
Yeah, well, because this bike is like, this is a fully grown man's bike.
Well, I
Just
guess
happens to be
maybe
pink
she's
with a lovely
also
basket.
she's also another thief. Like this town is full of different thieves. Like they're the
Yeah.
descendants of these pirates.
Just marauding gangs of pirate thieves.
Yeah, and also just quickly, like before we're in the hotel, the Airbnb sort of. There's like no immediately Beethoven like destroys the place.
Of course.
So she's right to have no pets. The no pet
Yes.
policy is like immediately justified.
Well, in fairness, he destroys, the most destruction he does is outside of the house.
He knocks over
ruins
the garden like trestle thing.
Yeah.
Beethoven's in the back of this car.
Yeah, there's a bunch of nonsense of, for some reason, nobody notices the dog back there. There's a bit where Beethoven farts and it smells so horrible that they get, anyway, it's kid stuff. I keep having to remind myself that this is a children's film.
Kids would love a big smelly dog fart.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yes. Meanwhile, I'm being like, how gauche. Yeah. Townsfolk all gather at the museum for Fritz's talk. He wants to build a shopping centre on the bay. That's the worst thing a person can do.
Horrible. And also these days, part of his thing is like, I'm building this big mall, which now you wouldn't build a mall,
No.
even
no.
if you were trying to generate a town.
No, it's all online.
Yeah, but and then he's like, and also we're going to turn your lighthouse. We're just going to point. He points like a architectural model of like some other fancy building there. But
It's
now,
a food court.
Yeah, you would turn the lighthouse into like a cafe.
Yeah,
Like,
you don't
that's
have
what-
to get rid of the building itself.
Yeah, that would be the attraction because like
Yeah.
people would want to be like, I want to be in this historic district with
Yeah.
the lighthouse that's now like they have raves.
Yeah.
You know, the big lights going out of the sea.
You could project sponsors out onto the water.
Yeah, that's what they would do. And then the townsfolk were like, yes, let's put our money into this.
Beethoven, again, comes in, ruins the talk. People is falling into food. Food just getting put in people's faces and stuff.
The little boy does a speech where he reads the contract, immediately sees that there's a clause saying that Fritz gets to own everything in the town if they
Yeah.
sign this contract. And everyone's like, damn, like, you know, they're really on the little boy's side.
Yeah.
And then he goes, I'll save the town by finding the pirate's treasure. And then everyone goes like,
Oh, this fucking kid.
It's like if he's like doing a speech about like capitalism and then went, and that's because they're all lizard people. It's like you lost him with the fucking pirate's treasure thing, kid. Like,
I mean,
he was proven to be right in the end.
he was proven to be right.
They
and
are all lizard people.
I think that if you lived in that place, you'd probably be the kind of person who would like the folklore aspect of the town. So you'd probably go along with the idea of the treasure. You'd probably be like, oh, you know, people talk about the treasure and, you know, oh, I think it's out there somewhere, you know. Like, you'd have fun with it. Like, why would you live in a seaside pirate town if you didn't want to go along with the myth of it all?
Absolutely. When he was like, that's actually going to save the town, the kid, everyone's like, it's not going to save the town.
Yeah, you're an idiot, kid.
Dude, like, we're struggling. This town's we need actual money, not your, like, pretend thing that you're telling us about.
Yeah, stupid kid. Get out of here. Brooke Schnauzer, he gets a lobster like caught on his nose, this fucking Looney Tunes shit where it's like clamped onto his nose, like he's a French waiter in a farce or something.
Yeah. There is a lot of stuff like, it's like gags you've seen in other cartoons.
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of that. Like somebody like a plank like that, and there's like something on that side of the plank, and someone sits on the other side, and it goes fadoing and flicks up. Just a lot of cartoon stuff.
Yeah, but there's no like original sort of sight gags. If you're like, no, this guy's really innovating with the form of like a dog knocking things over.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
not.
He's not trying to think of like what else what else could a dog do that would be visually interesting? It's like, nah, just do the same stuff. Do whatever you think a Saint Bernard would do in a Looney Tunes cartoon. Somehow Eddie figures out, and this comes out of fucking nowhere. The writing is atrocious in some of these scenes. He figures out that the weave in the old lady's shawl, the descendant of the pirate, she's very proud of this very old shawl that she has, that apparently has a 200-year-old weave in it. Apparently, the weave makes the treasure map. Like, apparently, if you put it, like, on top of one of the maps from the museum, it tells you where to go. All right.
The kid has been obsessed with these maps. He's always following the maps. That's what he was doing on the cliff before. But the maps have never made sense, and he just can't get to where the treasure is.
Yeah.
But suddenly the weave, for some reason, completes the map.
Yeah.
And now the boy and Eddie, who the mum disapproves of them doing this. Also, the boy's dad's dead. And he's
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
He's told him about, like, the treasure. So it's like this sort of Oedipal kind of thing where he's, like, trying to take into his father's shoes to fulfill this, find the treasure. My dad always told me I could find the treasure. And then Eddie is this new...
I don't think that's Oedipal. I don't think he
well,
wants
he's trying
to fuck his mom.
I think he is trying to fuck his mom.
I don't know. I didn't get a read on that.
No, just... he is... A big part of it is him just, like, trying to kill Eddie.
Yeah. It's like...
But that's the emotional thing of why the boy is so invested in this, like, finding the treasure thing. It's
Yes,
like connection to his dead dad.
Eddie has become like a father figure in this movie.
In
yes.
like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
The kid is really wants someone.
He's been there for like 3 days. It's absurd. So this and apparently Anne's romantic rejection of him come out of nowhere. There hasn't really been that much romantic tension between them, but then she says something dismissive of him, and it's like, oh, was that meant to be like romantic rejection? Because I wasn't getting that.
He's got a son.
He has a son in college, yes.
But he's not married, right?
No.
But it's not clear if he's divorced or if his wife is dead, or why he's romantically available.
I think that maybe this particular Beethoven film carries on from a previous one.
Okay.
I think that maybe Beethoven 5 and or 6 must feature this same actor, and this is like more of a direct sequel, I think. There's a little bit of backstory given, like, you know, you see a photo of Eddie's son when he's little with Beethoven when he's a puppy. So, you know, as a standalone film, you've got enough context, but it feels like it's carrying on from something else. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to watch the other Beethoven movies. So we get the hero has to make a decision, where Eddie gets a call from Morgan Fairchild, who wants him and Beethoven back because they tried to do Spy Chicken, the movie, and it didn't work. So Eddie has to make the decision. Is he going to go back to the bright lights of Hollywood or wherever they were? Or is he going to stay for love and glory with Anne and the boy? I mean, you know exactly what he's going to do.
It also is like a false choice in some ways, because he was fired because Beethoven wouldn't do the stunt. And there's no indication yet that Beethoven is going to do the stunt if they go back. Like, Beethoven doesn't want to act anymore.
But although it was just that one jump that Beethoven didn't want to do, he was doing fine for the rest of the film.
Yeah, he was, but for whatever reason, he wouldn't do that jump, and they had like 50 tries, and they couldn't just rewrite the scene. They were like, you're out. Beethoven's done.
Yeah. We'd rather try to get a whole new dog
dog
and shoot this film.
Well, not even dog, like chicken now. We're getting a different animal.
Yeah, very funny that they didn't even try to get like another Saint Bernard or another dog. Let's completely rewrite the film.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Hollywood for you, baby. Beethoven and Sam, they go treasure hunting. They are led to the town's cemetery. The map leads them to O'Malley's grave, which says very clearly that he was a bad guy. Like, it's literally got the words, like, scurvy dog on it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, wow. Yeah, I guess what they said about him was true. It's like, it's written right there. It wasn't hidden under anything.
Yeah. And normally the eulogy, you kind of gloss over some of the bad things about
Yeah.
people. So scurvy dog is kind of them being like, normally I would say, but let's just leave it at scurvy dog.
Normally, you know, you'd say nice things after a person dies, but it's like, I can't think of anything nice to say about this guy.
No, that's the best thing they can think to say.
Yeah. He was a criminal, a thug.
Hated oranges.
Yeah, not only was he a terrible pirate and a thief, he didn't take care of his health.
Yeah. Very vitamin C deficient.
Oh, that's the worst thing a person can be, actually.
I hate it.
Yeah. Sam and Beethoven fall through the ground of this cemetery, which seems paper thin, and they find a pirate skeleton.
Not in a coffin.
Nope, just in the ground.
And it's kind of like it's a cavern. Like, it's been dug out and then there's just...
tunnels.
Yeah, tunnels. And he's not that freaked out about having the pirate body of O'Malley fall on him.
No, he's not bothered. He's also not bothered by the tunnels that seem to go under the cemetery. and also the bats that live in this underground tunnel. Because I don't know much about bats. They don't live in dirt.
No.
They live in like caves and stuff.
Yeah,
but these are
entry
not...
and exits. There's seemingly until they created the hole. Where did the bats go before this?
How did they get in or out?
And also, why is he... Like, you think when they fall through, it's like, oh, so this will be like a passage to wherever the treasure is buried.
No.
But no, it's just he's just buried in a weird cavern.
Yeah.
Just thrown down there.
They don't do anything with that.
No. They find the key.
They find a key, I think, on his
Around
necklace,
his neck.
I think.
Yeah.
Like on the skeleton's necklace, which, again, he's very happy to touch a skeleton.
Of his ancestor.
Well, it's been there for long enough that it's not, like, mucky. It's all
But
dry.
there's still, like, a bunch of, like, centipedes coming out of his eyes.
Centipedes just live, like, there's no flesh
Yeah,
left.
there's no flesh.
Yeah.
The flesh is long gone.
The flesh is long gone. The centipedes just like to hang out in skeletons, famously.
Yeah, they love going through the eye socket.
They love that. They love just, like, going from one eye to the other across the bridge of
Yeah.
your nose. They're like...
They're always doing that. As soon as you see a skeleton, there'll be a centipede coming out of that socket.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, this will freak them out.
Yeah.
They love when I do this. Or it's like a little... Maybe it's just fun for a centipede to just be like, wee, over the bridge.
I think so. Yeah, it's like a BMX track.
Like a half pipe.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if you're a little centipede,
Like that's a Drazik centipede from Heartbreak High.
Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
If you were a little centipede, though, it's probably quite nice to live in just like a skull. Because it'd be like a nice little house.
Absolutely. Especially if you're like goth centipede, you're
Yeah.
reading Hamlet in there.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like,
poor,
oh.
poor Yorick, but you're like, but good me.
But good, does he know he lives in a skull?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought he was just like, this is my house, this is where I live.
Oh, okay. No, I think he's aware that it's like a memento mori. He's thinking about his own mortality.
Oh,
in there.
okay. And he
Yeah.
likes it, though.
He likes it.
He could live
though.
anywhere.
Yeah. He could choose. Yeah, of course. There's
Yeah.
plenty of other places for a centipede like him.
Because that's the thing. If you're like, if you're picturing like he's sitting on his little couch in the skull, and then the various holes in a skull would be like a skylight.
Yeah, and like the bones coming in, there's like a ledge. You can have your couch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the bridge of the nose would be like a good like mezzanine.
You need a huge space for your shoe rack. So many shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's where the jaw,
Yeah,
just
okay.
put them where the teeth are.
Yeah. Each
Yeah.
shoe. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, centipedes be damned, because he doesn't care about the centipedes. He doesn't care about the bats.
He says stupid bats, and
yeah.
they all come out. These CGI bats, they look very fake.
Of course, they're incredibly fake, because they're like, we've been in here for fucking years.
Yeah.
We've lived and died in this hole. But eventually, they figure out the map leads them to the beach, so they didn't even need the weird grave tunnels either. They go to the beach. They start digging.
There's like 3 rocks that are the sign.
Yeah.
The coastline hasn't changed. The tides haven't moved them in
No.
like centuries. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, hey, look, those 3 rocks that are sort of close together. They start digging. They find the treasure. It is alarmingly close to the surface.
Yeah, they dig it up really quickly.
Yeah, yeah. A child and a dog dig
With
it
their
up
hands.
in a few minutes, yes.
Yeah.
Picture in your mind a pirate chest, that's what it looks like. They pull it out, Brucknauser accosts them, steals the treasure, opens it up. It is a very cartoonish pirate chest full of shiny jewelry and gems.
They look so fake. That would be a funny reveal if it was like the mum just put it there. Or like the grandma years ago to be like have a bit of fun for the kid. Like it is.
Yeah.
It isn't real treasure.
Well, because she was like, I need the myth to live on.
Yeah.
And so she's like, Sam can find the treasure and it'll be like famous. It'll make our town famous now.
That would be a great thing of like they've actually contrived this myth. The people in the town are plotting to do this to make it like a more interesting tourism town because
Yeah.
that jewelry does not look real.
Yeah.
And letting a kid find it as well, an innocent to come across it.
And he's not cynical like us. He's not
Yeah.
going to look at it and be like, oh, that's not real. I've
No.
been duped this whole time.
And like the key, the lock hasn't
Rusted
rusted or
away,
anything. The key goes in so smoothly. The mechanism still works easily, perfectly. It unlocks. It hasn't like after being buried in salty sand
Yeah. Like
for hundreds of years. It's just like totally fine. I think
It's been planted?
It's planted there. Yeah.
One of the
I
great
think a lot of the things in this movie are very cynical. Well, we'll come to the ending.
Obamagate the movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm doing my version of that Obamagate.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
about Beethoven 7.
So Sam gets on the roof of Fritz's car, tries to follow him, but leaves Beethoven tied up on the beach, which seems rude. Anyway, we're getting to the last 15 minutes of the movie, so you know exactly how this is going to go. Eddie and Anne get Beethoven, who leads them to Sam, who is stowing away on Fritz's boat. Fritz has this big ship.
He's got a yacht.
Yes.
And he has more henchmen, sort of camp henchmen.
They're not camp enough, though.
But the others don't get any speaking roles.
No, well, I don't think they're henchmen. I think they're just staff on the boat.
No. We're going to find out. I think they are henchmen because he explicitly says that's why I'm the evil villain and you're the henchman to the main henchman guy.
I think he has one henchman. I think he
Okay.
has henchman.
I think you think he has henchmen, but the others seem to be kind of knowing and complicit in this
Yes.
operation.
But I think to
And
be
then-
a henchman, you have to undertake certain duties.
Okay, but then it gets revealed, like, the kids on the boat, like, what are they going to murder him or, like...
Yeah, they're just kind of
traffic
holding him
him?
hostage.
Yeah, like, they're going to... You've really made the crime, like, way more serious, keeping the kid on the boat.
Yeah, you could
Because
have just...
before it's, like, kind of cartoon... Just push him off, cartoon villainy, you know?
Yeah.
But now it's like, oh, are they going to, like, sell this kid?
Take him into international waters.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah. So Beethoven leaps onto the boat doing the jump that he was meant to do at the start of the film. So he got his mojo back. And I don't know if they put this in anywhere, but Fritz is apparently deathly scared of dogs
Which he hadn't been to any point.
because
Dealing with Beethoven.
he has not given a shit about this dog for the entire film. But when Beethoven leaps onto the boat, Fritz is apparently so terrified of him, he screams and leaps off the boat into the bay, into the water.
Yeah.
And this isn't like a little dinghy. This is a boat,
a
a
yacht,
ship.
yeah.
It's a big yacht. It's a millionaire's yacht. It's so weird. It's like, oh, that was your plan?
I think it's because it's a kids' movie and they couldn't go either. Fritz pulls out a gun and shoots Beethoven.
They weren't going to do that.
They're not going to do that. Or Beethoven bites and mauls Fritz. So they were kind of unwilling to, show the actual violence of this kind of situation. So he just
Yeah.
kind of has to be like, oh, Beethoven kind of scares him,
But, I mean, he could have done like a cartoon bite.
He could have bumped him or something.
Or he could have just been
knocked
like...
him over.
You know when a dog bites in a movie or in a cartoon, they just go like chomp and then they go, ow, and then they run away.
Well, he
it's-
like slobbers on the first henchman.
Yeah. Actually, I don't think Beethoven bites anybody.
He doesn't
He's
bite
not a
anyone.
violent guy.
No, he
uses
just knocks.
his-
He knocks people over. And his size.
Yeah. He's brawn, not brains.
Yeah.
The cops eventually arrive with who else but fucking Udo Kier in tow. Eventually, it is revealed that he is the real Fritz Brucknauser. Jeffrey Combs is playing Howard Belch, great name, who is an imposter. He's just pretending to be this insane German millionaire. All right.
Yeah, I didn't understand why he's an imposter. Like, why not just have the millionaire be the bad guy? Because then his plan at the beginning is to, like, have them sign a contract that gives Fritz ownership of the land.
Yeah.
But then he wouldn't legally have it.
Yeah, because he's not Fritz
Fritz
Brucknauser. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were going to pretend to be someone, why wouldn't you just, like, find a way of taking the money directly?
Well, you have the millionaire's money. Why now this town that you're trying to steal under the millionaire's name?
Yeah.
But you haven't even imprisoned the millionaire or murdered the millionaire.
He's just there.
He's just there,
Yeah.
able to contact the authorities to, like,
Yeah.
kind of get you. And plan doesn't make sense why any of that is part of
If
it.
you're going to impersonate a millionaire and try to get money out of the suckers of a small town, don't bring admin into it. Don't bring, like, contracts and a paper trail.
Yeah.
Just take cash and get the fuck out of there.
Because say his plan worked, and then the real Bruckenheiser he arrives, and he's just like, I guess I own this town now.
All right. Well, I guess the moral of the film is hashtag not all millionaires.
I guess.
Yeah, because the real Fritz Brucknauser, he was like, oh, I don't want this town.
I don't need this stupid town.
I don't want it. But it's like, but I'm a millionaire, but I'm a good guy. I don't want to take over a small beachside town where everybody loves each other. I just want to have this super yacht.
Yeah.
Traffic children.
Yeah.
Leave the kid.
This guy normally just traffics kids for me, but he took it too far. He
Yeah,
thought,
he's punching above his weight here. Poor Jeff and his henchmen are carted off by the cops. Sam gets to keep the treasure because he is an O'Malley, and there's something in the town charter about O'Malley's owning the treasure of some fucking shit like
but
that.
of course that would be in the town charter because O'Malley seemingly wrote the charter, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Some
And also he
illiterate
knew where the
pirate
treasure was. Yeah. So he was like, only my descendants can keep it. Well, yeah, obviously.
It would be great though if it was like the Simpsons Hellfish episode where like the descendants of the people who O'Malley stole the treasure from just rock
Yep.
up and go like, that's actually ours.
Yeah, yeah. We're actually entitled to that.
that, yeah.
Yeah. And he has a bright idea to save the town because he's like, you know what, this town's so good, but what we really need is more people to come to the town. So I think what I'm going to do is sink all of this money from this pirate chest, which it's not clear how much money there is, but it must be a lot because he decides he's going to make movies.
That's the insane thing. He's stolen. He's like not catfish, but he's like sort of manipulating this woman
Yep.
to give the town's entire money to him
To make Beethoven
to
movies.
make Beethoven pirate movies.
Yeah, about like the town, I
About the
guess.
town.
Yeah.
Which they shoot on green screen even though they live
In the town.
in the
exactly.
town.
Exactly. It's like,
His own ego, he tells the studio to get fucked, like he is the studio now. So it's like you can see like he's manipulated these people into doing it on a cynical level. Eddie is the true evil person. Like he's well, there's many, but he's also like you're like this guy's like
in this universe, Beethoven is a star.
He is a star.
Like people do recognize him as, oh my god, you're Beethoven from the Beethoven movies. And I guess it's meant to be like a knowing thing of like in this universe, Beethoven is also famous.
Yeah, but you're betting everything that this movie will succeed. Sometimes stars make flops.
And also, judging by the costumes in the one scene we see them do, it doesn't look like it's going to be good.
It doesn't look great.
No.
And Beethoven seems to be waning. Like the late that there was problems with his last film.
Yeah.
Films are notoriously difficult. Even if if Eddie isn't like knowingly trying to get one over people, it is kind of weird that it's like the end of the film, he's kind of the leader of the town, leading this, put all their money into making these films.
Although he does give everybody jobs, whether or not they deserve it.
Yeah, people who have never worked in film before are now working on the film.
On a set, yeah. The mechanic who doesn't know how to fix cars is apparently like an AD or something.
Yeah. So the film's going to go over budget. There's going to be problems.
He's going to want to do it in a certain way, but he's going to have this ego about it. It's going to be like Citizen Kane. You know, it's going to get overblown. He's going to have too much of his own vision in there. He's not going to appreciate the vision of the town. Which
they're not even showing because they're filming it on green screen.
So the film basically ends in a studio space, I guess, where Eddie is filming a scene with Sam and Beethoven and the little girl that Sam had a crush on. They're all dressed up in pirates gear. And then there's a bunch of extras that are all dressed up as pirates as well.
Adult pirates.
Adult pirates. What could you possibly need on a green screen in a pirate movie that you wouldn't have in a seaside town?
Yeah.
I don't know, because I feel like you could pretty easily make a new boat look like an old boat.
Yeah. And also shouldn't, like at the museum, shouldn't, you know, like in Melbourne, if you go down to like Docklands, there's like an old tall ship, you know, like a sailing ship.
Yeah, look, I'm sure you can
Shouldn't an old town like this have a ship like that already?
Yeah, or at least something that looks a bit older than the Millionaire's super yacht.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think that was a reveal that they didn't film any of it. Like, yeah. We didn't film this in a small town.
Far be it from me to question Eddie's vision.
Yeah,
for the Beethoven films. The film ends on such a weird fucking note where Sam, while he's making this movie, sees the ghost of his pirate grandpa who like gives him a thumbs up, and he's like, "Thanks, Grandpa." No, he's a villain too.
Yeah,
he's still a bad guy.
Also, the ghost hadn't helped
at all.
Oh, there'd be no like the ghost is guiding Sam.
No,
he just randomly rocks up and goes like, "I'm actually all right."
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, you did good, kid." It's like, yeah, no thanks to you. You buried the treasure. You could have like.
He like whispers in Sam's ear, "You've got to kidnap that little girl now and sell her.
Yeah,
you've got to kill like this.
Continue my legacy.
Keep stealing.
Yeah, do bad things." It's like, yeah, because we've already been shown by the flashback and by his gravestone that he's a bad guy.
Yes, he's an evil pirate.
He's an evil pirate. So. Oh, thanks, Grandpa. You should be ashamed of your lineage.
No, it would be like, yeah, it's like you've got the Nazi gold. Thanks, Granddad Hitler. Granddad Hitler's like, yes, yes.
You got it.
You got it.
Yeah. Don't do what I did.
But it's good you got all that gold I stole.
Yeah.
But also you're like, what's the distribution for this film?
Yeah.
Because he's telling the studios to go fuck themselves.
Yeah, it's like, okay, you can make the film all you want, but who's going to, like, release it?
Yeah, what theaters are you getting it into? What's the press for this movie going to be?
I reckon it's a stunt. I don't reckon it was going to get distributed at all. I reckon the stunt was like, Beethoven star makes crappy pirate movie, and apparently it's going to be one of those, like, troubled productions where it's, like, cursed.
Yeah.
And then people are going to... It's going to be so weird and interesting that people are going to want to know more about it.
Oh, and then they bury it's, you know, no one can see this film, and they bury it.
They bury it. They make a treasure map. Yeah.
You've got to go dig it up. The dog also almost seemingly deliberately falls on the kid when he's in the grave as well.
Yes.
The dog likes doing kind of bad things.
I think that was an accident.
You think so?
I think when the dog falls into the grave with Sam.
And of potentially could have crushed the kid.
Yeah, because it is a St. Bernard, yes. Yeah. And that is a small kid. I think that was an accident because he was trying to help him, and he obviously just didn't know how big he was. I think the idea is that Beethoven is smart, but I don't think of St. Bernards as smart. I don't know if they are or not. I have no idea. My idea of a St. Bernard is that they are dumb. Lovely, but dumb.
All I think about St. Bernards is like when they're rescue dogs in the snow and they got that little brandy barrel.
Is that St. Bernards?
Is that a St. Bernard? I thought it was
Huskies? German Shepherds.
No. You know when like you see like I've never actually seen this, but obviously in like cartoons.
Cartoons, that's all right then. Yeah.
From the 90s. It'd be like, I don't know, people in like a Swiss alpine, and it's an avalanche, and then they send out the St. Bernards, and they'll have like a little bit of brandy, like a little brandy barrel on their collar.
Okay.
And then when they rescue a person, the person can drink a little bit of brandy, and that like warms them up.
Okay,
And
I feel like I've heard of that.
I
but-
always feel like more dogs should have like a little alcoholic beverage on there, like for different situations.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like a chihuahua comes up to you in the middle of a deserted island and he's got like a little thing of tequila.
Yeah, or you're like at a business meeting and you're not confident and it comes and gives you some Dexies or something. There's different dogs with different like
What dog's
drugs.
bringing you a Dexy?
I think a greyhound is bringing you a Dexy.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Speed.
Got them tucked under their
Yeah.
horrible thin skin.
What dog is going to give you acid?
Chinese crested.
Yeah, and it's on its tongue already. You've got to like lick its
You
tongue.
gotta
It's got
kiss
the tab-
me.
It's got the tab on its tongue.
And then a sausage dog, I think you'd think it would bring you a hot dog, and it doesn't.
I think a sausage dog brings you a beer.
Yeah,
I
because
think
it's long.
Yeah, no, it's got like a can underneath it.
Oh, I thought it was resting the stubby on like along its back.
Oh yeah, like in a groove on its back,
Yeah.
like it's the dog itself.
Yeah.
The dog's the bun, and then you pull out like a can of beer.
Exactly. It's like
Yeah.
horizontal on the dog's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like, trot, trot, trot.
There should be like a dog with Narcan if you like overdose on him.
Which is the most sort of like helpful dog.
Maybe a Labrador.
Yeah, Labrador, yeah.
A Labrador would have Narcan.
They're very friendly, yeah.
Yeah.
Lady and the Tramp, what's she? King Charles Cavalier.
Mm-hmm.
They're very pretty dogs. So maybe they could have like just like a bottle of champagne.
Oh yeah,
You know, for when you're on a date.
for sure. That'd
Yeah.
be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it shouldn't just be drugs and alcohol. They should have different objects that you might need for different situations.
Yeah, yeah. You know, you come across a duck and he's got a Coke no sugar for you if you need one.
Yeah.
You know?
You're on the tram and maybe like a blue heeler has like a Mikey that you can touch on with. If you
It's loaded up. It's all
Yeah.
you need.
You just like you pick it up and you just put it, you tap on with the
Yeah.
dog and you just put it down. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. A blue healer would have to have something that like would help you in a particularly Australian way. So I think that it would, a blue healer or like a red cattle dog would have to help you in like.
I think a blue heeler helps you if you get pulled over for a breath test.
helps you dodge the fucking cops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, mate. They're fucking low dogs, aren't they? Yeah.
It blows into the thing for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, that dog hasn't been drinking and he's driving.
Yeah. He's fine. No, mate. I'm a passenger. I don't know.
Yeah.
My mate's
He's
just,
my mate. I waited for him and he's here now.
Look. What do you mean? He's just hairy. Don't judge him. So yeah, that's
That was Beethoven.
Beethoven's Treasure Tale.
And it worked out in the end for everyone, except for the
Except for the people it didn't work out for.
the bad guys.
I have to assume that Eddie and Anne got together, which is fine.
They didn't seem to have any chemistry, really.
No.
His whole thing was like, I'm tall and I have my hair. I'm actually a real catch in Hollywood. I really feel like in that first scene with the mechanic, when he's just being a huge dick to the mechanic, I'm just like, fuck off, cunt.
That
Like,
really set you off, didn't it?
yeah, it's just like, well, I just feel like he's the person that can help you.
He's
You've crashed your car. It's not like you. It's totally Eddie's fault that he's in this situation.
Yeah.
He fucked up. There's no one to blame but himself. But
So
he
just-
never takes responsibility for anything that's happened. Eddie blames everyone else but him.
Yeah.
And then he goes, Eddie should be like groveling to that mechanic.
I did just realize also that the reason they crash is because the brakes are fucked in their car, right?
But Eddie's like driving in the wrong lane.
He's also driving terribly, and then he tries to stop and the brakes don't work. But then there's like a gag where he's pushing the car and Beethoven is meant to be steering.
Yeah.
But then he keeps saying to Beethoven, at least take your foot off the brake.
They don't, yeah.
2 seconds ago,
The
that
brakes
was the
doesn't work.
reason that you crashed.
Well, maybe that's just his excuse. He blames the brake, but really it's just he didn't brake in time.
I like the idea that Beethoven doesn't exist. And that it's like a split personality thing in a movie where Beethoven represents.
It's Fight Club?
Yeah, but Beethoven represents the way he wishes he was.
Okay.
But then also the things that he does wrong, he likes to blame on Beethoven.
You see that at the end of the film. It's like he's in the bath with a little kid earlier. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
he jumps in. No, don't. Like when we look at it from like the audience perspective, it's like he's the one like running up and down the table, flinging food everywhere.
Yeah.
He does the massive fart that almost
Yeah.
chokes Fritz to death. Yeah.
I think that's a great theory. I think it makes sense. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Beethoven.
Everyone goes along with it because they're like, I don't think we can tell him. That
Yeah, he'll bite us. He's weird.
It will break his psyche.
Yeah, it's
if-
like a sleepwalking thing. You
Yeah.
can't mention it to him.
Yeah, he will irreversibly snap psychologically if we reveal this
But then what's
dementia
the
to him.
movie thing? Like, is he in like a dog suit, kind of like Wilfred when
Yep.
he's doing the okay.
He's so in that bit he's like, I'm gonna be a star, and then he's dressed as a dog.
He can't do the job because he's sad that his son is at college.
Yeah, that's the thing. When his son went to college, that's when Beethoven got sad.
We
right?
reveal that.
Well,
and that's why we need the new boy Because
to replace the son.
Yeah. It's actually an opposite of what happens often with dogs. Like the dog will die and then they has to get replaced with a new dog.
Yeah.
But in this, the dog is some sort of immortal spirit who treats humans like we treat dogs. His dog son boy has grown up and left. So he needs a new boy to play with.
You will replace him.
Yeah.
And then like satanic music starts playing. And on it goes. And then the spirit of Beethoven lives on in whoever it needs to.
The seventh Beethoven.
The seventh circle of Beethoven. Yeah, look, it was tedious but acceptable for a film.
Movie, yeah, if you have kids, you could put it on.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have discerning children.
Yes, I think small children.
Yeah, little kids. But again, little kids may not understand like the depth of the lore of the economics of a fishing town, you know.
Yeah.
But importantly, Jeff's having a good time at the end of the day. That's all I care about.
He got another paycheck.
As long as he's getting paid and he's having a good time, that's all I care about. He's doing good. This sort of like blends into a lot of the fun sort of like voice acting stuff that he's done in recent years because it's like big and energetic as opposed to being
and he's doing like a German accent.
Sinister like he has done previously. You know, previously when he's played villains, it's like genuinely kind of scary.
Yeah, this guy refers to himself as a villain.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's very on the nose.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's a perfectly acceptable time. If it hadn't been a Beethoven film and it had have just been like a shitty family movie, I would have had a worse time of it. But the fact is I got to look at a dog for like an hour and a half, which is not a terrible thing.
The dog is kind of the best bit.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
the worst bit not the worst bit, but he's annoying. He is an annoying dog. He's like knocking everything over.
Yeah.
He's being a bit of a prick sometimes.
He doesn't know though.
And on purpose.
Doesn't
That's
understand.
the thing. No, he does. That's what I think he does.
No, I don't think so.
I think he does.
I don't think he does.
I think it's implied the dog knows what he's doing.
No.
The dog ultimately has a good heart, but he's like kind of a prick and likes to smash things.
No, I think he's completely naive, and he's singularly focused on something. He'll be
Okay.
like, I want to play with the kid. The kid's over there. I've got to get over there.
And it doesn't matter what's in the way.
Doesn't matter what's in the way. Food, people, wheelchairs. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Yeah. He just loves people. He loves his people.
Well, we'll have to agree to disagree.
Debate me.
Yeah.
Anything to plug, Angus?
Nah.
No.
Just my Instagram @real_Angus_Gordon.
Got some gigs and shit coming up.
Yeah, got some gigs. I'll be in Queensland from March 12th to April 13th, and then I'll hopefully be in Sydney. Got to confirm the dates for that. So yeah, if you're in Brisbane or Sydney or Melbourne, yeah, I'll be doing gigs in the next couple of months in those cities.
You're usually around.
Yeah, or Sunny Coast as well.
Sunny Coast.
Yeah.
It's where the sun lives.
It was also founded by pirates.
Yeah.
I'm not there for comedy. I just got a treasure map, and I feel like I'm the one who will find the Marucci Bar millions.
It's not gold or jewelry either. It's just a bunch of
it's
real
cash.
It's
cash.
No, it's tinnies.
Oh, tinnies.
Yeah.
Milton mangoes that have been buried down there.
It's tinnies and Winnie Blues.